Hey guys, I'm back again with a review of the Hare with Amber Eyes. Now, I finished this book on Friday evening. This was the book that we discussed in my book club on Saturday afternoon. There weren't very many members there, but the discussion was very interesting. This book was written by Edmund Duval, and he traced his family tree back through generations, and he describes it through these little figurines called netsuke. And this is these are like little Japanese figurines, and they were used to tie Japanese samurais obi. The obi is the belt, and they represent lots of different types of characters. Sometimes it's people, sometimes it's animals, and sometimes they even have quite sexual connotations. Well, his family had a very large collection of netsuke, and they were made of ivory and wood. They're very small and they fit into the palm of your hands. This was inheritance that he received, and it's through this inheritance that he starts to look at his family tree, to go back and look through public records and pictures and talk to all of the living relatives. His family was an extremely wealthy Jewish family. The family originated in Odessa, Ukraine, and they eventually moved out of there through different parts of Europe. So they lived in Vienna, they lived in Paris, and in England. Now, this book, I had some trouble with it, I must admit. I'm not gonna lie to you. I had a lot of trouble reading this book. I found that it was a little slow in some bits. I mean, I would even say it was just, frankly, it was just dry. It's a bit dry for me. There were some passages that are lovely, beautifully written, wonderful descriptions. But there were moments where, frankly speaking, I had a hard time keeping my eyes open on this one. Now, this book is one of those books where people either say 4 or 5 stars, the best book I've ever read, it was so fantastic, or you get 1, 2 stars and they say they hated this book. Now, the thing that's interesting about this book is the wealth that was acquired by the family and their love for art and their relationship with some of the artists of the time of 19th century. This was a time period where end of 19th century was very popular in Europe, was the, Japanese, works of art, and Impressionism was, at its height. And you have the people of the time, especially the rich, buying lots of Japanese artwork. It was the height of, of that kind of thing. And this family acquired so much so many different types of, paintings and, artifacts of all different types. And, it's through this, he traces his family, and I won't tell you what happens, but they lived the glorious epoch, as we say, living in Vienna right before World War II. And when the Germans march into Vienna, things change for this extremely wealthy Jewish family. Now, the book is only about, I say only, it's about 350 pages. This edition is the Vintage Books edition. It's lovely because, yes, you do have the picture of the netsuke in it. I think when I voted for this book, I thought it was about something different than what it really was. I really thought it was going to be mostly on these figurines, and basically the figurines are not in this story very much. As a matter of fact, the Hare with Amber Eyes, I'm not even sure why they call it that, because it's not really an appropriate title for the book. I'm not really sure what that appropriate title would be, but this is not the one. One of the main themes that runs through this book and that we discussed quite a lot about on Saturday was the importance of tracing family as far back as possible, but also this idea of leaving a legacy, or not even really a legacy, but leaving objects behind for other family members, and what exactly these things mean to the person that receives them as opposed to what it meant to the person that owned it during their lifetime. Now, we all agreed that it's always, great to have a keepsake from a family member that meant a lot to us. But we all admitted that sometimes we receive things that don't mean nearly as much to us as it did maybe to the original person it belonged to. And it made me think even more about my personal family and how, when you lose some things from your past, that is, you start to feel like something has, been taken off of you. But then you learn to live with that and you try to piece things together in another way. And that has a lot to do with the way this book is constructed. And that's what makes it very, I think, special in a way. Now, I have to say that for this book, I'm giving it 3 stars. I didn't, it's written here at the bottom, "You have in your hands a masterpiece" by Frances Wilson from the Sunday Times. Sorry, Frances, I don't agree with you. This is not, I wouldn't say this is a masterpiece, but I definitely wouldn't say it was a bad book. It's just a little dry in places. But as I was doing some research on Friday, I came across a few links on YouTube where I saw Edmund Duval talking about his book, and suddenly it came to life for me in a different way. And then I really, really regretted that I hadn't just picked this one up on audiobook instead of picking up the book itself. So my suggestion to you is, if you were interested in reading this, because this is really a book where you're going to get history, art, family tree, very, very interesting. The rise of anti-Semitism in Europe. You're going to get a lot of stuff in this. But what I strongly suggest is that if you are really interested in reading this book, to try to get it on audiobook, because I think you will love it more than if you sit down and you turn the pages and you read it like that. Now, another downside to this book are the pictures. The pictures are all quite small. Let's see if I can find another one. You see, if these pictures would have been bigger, I think, in the book, like taking up the entire page, we would have been able to enjoy them more. I'll give you an example. It's because I checked out a link where we have Edmund Duval speaking about this book, and basically he's reading an excerpt from the book. But as he's reading the excerpt, they had a big screen in the room, and you could see the same pictures that were in the book on the screen, and it just looked a lot better. But other than that, I say check it out. It's not a bad book. Bit slow in parts, but very worthwhile reading. So that's all I have for you today. Bye-bye.